Hey, 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 happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, howdy, howdy. I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at The Daily Dope, presented by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the Grand Poobah. Yes, I am the founder and editor-in-chief of The Gaming Gang. Tonight is Thursday, July 23rd, 2020. It is baseball's opening night, although there's only a couple of games going on. This is episode 519 of The Daily Dope. So, do want to welcome everybody aboard if this is the first time joining me. Do want to point out two things. One, I'm normally not wearing glasses. So, just take a little break for my eyes because I've been wearing contacts every day for quite a while. So every once in a while, it's nice to kind of give the eyes a break, even though the prescriptions are a little tiny bit different. But anyway, so that's one of the things. Second thing is that if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't. And of course, if you do subscribe, be sure to ring that little notification bell. It'll tell you not only when the Daily Dope streams live right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights, it'll also tell you when I upload other videos, such as my upcoming review of the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 4th edition Game Master screen, which also comes with a little 32, I think it's 32-page book inside. That will be coming soon. I got a bunch of videos coming soon, actually. So, also do want to mention that when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. All right. Also, because this is a live stream, that also means that chat is available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, comment, by all means, fire away. I will do my best to respond. So far in chat, we have a Gray Day, William McGinnis, the Madman is also hanging out as well. So yes, it was a Gray Day notices. Yes, this is my con shirt. Because yesterday I shared a picture of myself at San Diego Comic-Con, which I think is like I think it's from about 4 years ago. And I have this Sharknado hat on. In fact, you know what? I could probably jump back to it. I don't think I changed out this slide. There we go. That was me. So I had mentioned that this is kind of my con shirt that I wear this. I always bring this shirt with me to conventions, and I wear it one day, right? I'm not somebody who doesn't change clothes or, shower at conventions. But I usually wear this kind of as a laugh, and it's actually a heavier shirt. So I was talking about that yesterday. So a Gray Day noticed that I am wearing my con shirt. Ha, 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 yes. So I was wondering if anybody would notice. I'm also wearing a Goonies t-shirt underneath. So anyway, so the Madman says they think Sharknado 3 came out in 2015. All right, so it's from 5 years ago. So I know when we would go to San Diego Comic-Con and they had, they were giving out the Sharknado stuff. The movie was usually on about a week afterwards. So it was, I guess Sharknado is kind of a summer thing, right? Wouldn't you think? I don't know. Maybe there was a winter Sharknado movie. I have no idea. I've never actually watched one. So, anyway, other thing from yesterday, I couldn't remember the place that we go and usually have pizza on Sunday after the con is over, but before we go catch our flight, or the red eye out of San Diego, which we don't always get on because we fly on passes. Sometimes we have to try to get down to LA to fly out of there. But anyway, we usually go there for pizza. And I couldn't remember the name of the Galleria, I guess we'll call it. And it is Seaport Village. I kept sitting there wanting to say Seaside Village yesterday. And I was like, that's not it. That's why I didn't say Seaside Village. I was like, I swear, I know it's Village. It's Seaport Village. So, and once again, Pinky is downstairs. She came down last night, right at the start of the show. She's getting into this habit that as soon as she hears me down here talking, she wakes up from the couch upstairs, comes down into the duct tape studios, and then begins to carry on. She was really going at it yesterday. Thankfully, with this microphone, you really don't catch her that much unless she's fairly close to me. Anyway, so hopefully everybody's doing well tonight. I see Mel Winius from York has arrived in chat. So I also, before we jump into the news, do want to mention I am still kind of bouncing around next week. All right, Pinky, enough. Jeez. So what I might do, because I really am thinking of trying to take part in some way for Gen Con Online. And I think it kicks off Wednesday or Thursday. So what I might do next week is might just do shows Monday and Tuesday and then have the rest of the week off. Because one of the things also is when I go to conventions, which would have been back to back, amazingly enough, I would have been at San Diego Comic-Con, gotten back effectively the next Monday, right? I'd have been getting back this coming Monday, and then Wednesday morning in the wee hours, I would have been driving down to Indianapolis for Gen Con. So it wasn't going to be much turnaround, but I do at least get, you know, kind of a break from doing shows all the time and shooting videos all the time. So I don't know. We'll see what's going on. We'll see what happens. You will know next week. Once again, I always point out, be sure to follow at the Gaming Gang on Twitter if you're on Twitter, because that way you'll find out what's going on. I do usually, at least I do my best on YouTube, on the community page, kind of post what's going to be on that day as far as the companies I'm covering as well. So you can always check that out. But usually Twitter is really a much better way to find out what is going on with the Gaming Gang as well as the Daily Dope. All right, so let's jump on into the news. I've got some cool stuff to talk about tonight because now hitting stores for Rock Manor Games is Maximum Apocalypse. Here's the dope. Maximum Apocalypse is a cooperative roguelike adventure game for 1 to 6 players. In Maximum Apocalypse, civilization has already fallen. The players are survivors of the apocalypse whose mission is to survive the hostile landscape. Game map is randomly generated and different every time you play. On each turn, a player can use up to 4 actions to explore the map, play cards, equip weapons, scavenge for resources, draw cards, or battle monsters. The Maximum Apocalypse Legendary Edition is a revamped version of the popular Survivor game by Rock Manor Games. Maximum Apocalypse fans old and new will fall in love with the new Survivor miniatures and custom game trays with a Z, because that's the company's name, storage trays. The Legendary Edition collects the original game and all the existing expansions: Gothic Horrors, Kaiju Rising, and Jurassic Perils, along with the new Bugpocalypse expansion into one epic box. Maximum Apocalypse is a cooperative roguelike adventure game set amid the backdrop of 4 apocalyptic scenarios. As you explore the post-apocalyptic world, 1 to 6 survivors work together to complete mission objectives. I gotta be honest, I think overall there are more than 4 because they show zombies. So we know zombies is one of them. Don't know. All I know is I think this Legendary Edition has loads of stuff packed into it. Anyway, on each turn, player can use up to 4 actions to explore the map, play cards, equip weapons, scavenge for resources, draw cards, or battle roaming monsters. We've kind of covered that before. Picking a unique survivor class within the group, players must plan their strategy while leaning on their character's strengths in order to defeat monsters and avoid starvation. For example, the fireman is deadly up close with his axe. Meanwhile, the stealthy hunter is great at scouting the map and avoiding traps. But roaming monsters are gathering quickly and time is running out. Can you survive the apocalypse? The Legendary Edition contains the core game, Gothic Horrors expansion, Kaiju Rising, and the Jurassic Perils expansion. Also introduces miniatures in an epic box with a custom-made dotage solution. I've got a quick video because at one point this was on Kickstarter. So I'm kind of interested. This looks really interesting, got to be honest. So let's jump on in and take a quick peek. The video is less than it's less than 2 minutes. I think it's close to 2 minutes. So kick back and let's give it a peek.
In this wasteland of our former civilization, we are the ones left standing, men and women bonded together and reduced to one singular instinct: survival. We will explore the ravaged landscape, scavenge what we can, and face whatever enemies lie in the shadows. We can only hope to find what we need to escape and live to face another day. Our group has suffered loss, but we persevere. We're fighters and survivors. Do you have what it takes to join our ranks? Welcome to Maximum Apocalypse, a cooperative roguelike adventure game for 2 to 6 players. Look in the mission log and pick one of the post-apocalyptic scenarios that you'll have to face and set up the game. Select one of the 6 different survivor classes and get ready. Roll dice to spawn monsters. Draw cards from your deck. Play instant effects and equip gear and weapons. Explore the map and scavenge for resources. Attack enemies. Increase hunger. Suffer damage. Will you survive the apocalypse?
Maximum Apocalypse Legendary Edition is for 1 to 6 players, ages 13 and up. Plays in around an hour to 90 minutes. And it does carry an MSRP of $139. There is a standard edition of this. So keep in mind, the Legendary Edition is the base game plus the expansions and miniatures and a custom storage solution inside. Whereas you can get just Maximum Apocalypse by itself. It is not $139. So, but I thought I'd share this because this is, I believe this is hitting stores. It's either hitting stores or it was scheduled to hit stores this week or it might be next week. But this does look pretty interesting. It really does. But yes, that price tag is kind of like zoinks. Pretty pricey. But looks like this could have some good replayability. It's kind of funny. Every time I would say Rock Manor Games, I keep wanting to say Rock Auto. All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto. Kabuki Kid has joined us in chat. Welcome aboard, Double K. Good to see ya. So, speaking of pricey games, arriving next week from the game brewer is Fujikoro. And here's the dope. Japan, Hussey 4, 1707. Mount Fuji is on the verge of erupting. Red hot lava will soon consume the 3 secret senjai, sacred temples hidden deep in the bowels of the volcano. The shogun is determined to preserve the precious heritage and sends his most noble and gifted samurai warriors on a quest inside the volcano to retrieve the valuable goods. After a grueling climb through the snowstorms and treacherous rocky terrain, the samurai finds the entrance that leads down into the cavern. The volcano rumbles and the walls start shaking. The floor underneath their feet crumbles and our brave samurai fall into the huge cavern that contains the 3 temples, which are slowly sinking into the smoldering lava. It is now up to our heroes to explore the cavern and find as many of the relics, sacred scrolls, and monks as possible. Yes, I guess the monks are living in the volcano. To bring back safely to the shogun before the volcano erupts and all is lost forever. Fujikoro can be played in a competitive mode with 2 to 6 players or a cooperative mode with 1 to 6 players. Players will try and gather sacred scrolls and blueprints for magical weapons, gather resources, craft the best possible gear. You have time to craft stuff as you're trying to like get stuff out of an erupting volcano? Come on. And try to get out of the volcano before it fully erupts. Well, there you go. To make matters worse, players will encounter fantastical dragons on their journey throughout the volcano that they will have to try and defeat by themselves or with the help of other players. The game continues until the end phase of the game, which is triggered by 1 player reaching 30 victory points. Once that happens, players will have 8 final turns to escape the volcano. It's quite a lot of playtime after somebody hits the 30 victory points. The game offers a competitive mode, 2 to 6 players, or a cooperative mode for 1 to 6 players. Craft weapons, helmets, sandals. Thank God got sandals. With collected cube resources to suit a battle or match patterns on scrolls to claim bonus and or magical qualities. The end game is triggered when players pass a point threshold. Then the volcano erupts, filling the game board with lava tiles, making it harder to achieve points in the few remaining turns. Fujikoro is for 1 to 6 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 30 minutes per player, and will carry an MSRP of $89.99 when it arrives next week. $89.99. So, game looks interesting, I have to point out, but that price is just, there's even a deluxe edition which has miniatures and some other things in it, and it's $200. It's like, no offense, Game Brewer, but do you understand how these things work? $90, you should have miniatures in this box. Now, I believe this is a Belgian company, and I'm not trying to pick on them, but looking at what they share, this does not look like a $90 game by any stretch of the imagination. It looks like about a $50, maybe $60 game, because it has these, looks like these temples that you'll put together. But yeah, kind of surprised by the price of this. Because when I ran across it, I was like, oh, hey, this looks kind of cool. Figured, yeah, I'll share the news. And then I got to where the retail price, I was like, well, I'll still share the news, but yowza. So today's Thursday, and that means we've got free PC games from the Epic Games Store. So right now you can score both Next Up Hero and Tacoma absolutely free through July 30th. Next up, Hero is from Digital Continue and Aspyr Media, Inc. It's a dungeon crawler featuring hand-drawn heroes that hack, slash, bongo drum, boomerang, and jet their way through ventures. Choose your hero and start rolling dungeons, gearing out, and maxing your stats. Fight, die, win, and probably die some more. Next up, Hero is a gauntlet-style dungeon crawler starring hand-drawn heroes that hack, slash, shoot, drum, boomerang, jet, and explode their way through ventures. Choose your hero and or invite a friend to co-op and start rolling dungeons, gearing out, and maxing your stats against the vile monsters known as the Ceaseless Dirge. Defeated the bosses? Create your own dungeon for the community. Dungeon defeated? Do it on the insane level. Oh, you did that? Then min-max your favorite character. Oh, you seriously did all of that? Then try it again with your favorite co-op partner. Next, we have Tacoma from Fullbright. Tacoma is a narrative adventure set aboard a high-tech space station in the year 2088. As you go about your mission, you'll explore every detail of how the station's crew lived and worked, finding the clues that add up to a gripping story of trust, fear, and resolve in the face of disaster. At the heart of Tacoma is the facility's digital surveillance system, which has captured 3D recordings of pivotal moments in the crew's life on the station. As you explore, echoes of these captured moments surround you. You'll use your ability to rewind, fast forward, and move through the physical space of these complex interwoven scenes to examine events from every angle, reconstructing the multi-layered narrative as you explore. Tacoma is the next game from the creators of Gone Home and carries on that tradition of detailed, immersive, and powerful storytelling while pulling players deeper into the narrative than ever before. As previously mentioned, both these games are available. Yes, they're available, everybody. Both games are absolutely free and available at the Epic Game Store through July 30th. Not bad, not bad. Kabuki Kid says they loved Gone Home. Tacoma is really well received. And I sort of know the story. I'm not going to share it. I don't know how it ends. But for some reason, I seem to recall hearing that the game kind of ended abruptly, or maybe the ending wasn't what people were expecting. So it was a little bit of a dig against it. But it's supposed to be awesome. The next up hero is supposed to be okay. So I don't know. It is something I have never heard of, to be honest. But hey, they're free. They're absolutely free. And if you have been going to the Epic Games website every Thursday for the past year, you have got a ton of free games in your Epic Games account. I know I do. All right, so be sure to grab those for free. Next week's don't look that great. There are 3 games that I am absolutely not familiar with, and they have 2 of them look like they've got the kind of like 8-bit graphics, which I don't understand why there's such a big sort of fascination with like 16-bit and 8-bit graphics. But it's, it's kind of funny because it's from people who didn't grow up with those kind of graphics. So they're kind of like, wow, these are cool. This is super retro. I love this. And probably much easier to code and design. But as somebody who, that was kind of like par for the course for us, it's sort of like, I don't need to go back to those kind of graphics. What the hell's wrong with you people? On to the next news piece. Arriving in stores, I do believe, it's in stores in some locations, is the hardcover Dungeons & Dragons Adventures Reincarnated, or I should say Original Adventures Reincarnated, number 4, The Lost City, from Goodman Games. I've got the dope. It's an adventure for levels 1 to 7, Goodman Games expands its partnership with Wizards of the Coast with the fourth release in the original Adventures Reincarnated line. Lost in the sweeping dunes of an expansive desert, your band, separated from its caravan during a sandstorm, stumbles upon the ancient ruins of a city, mostly buried in the sands. One of the structures, a prominent step pyramid, not steep pyramid. Hang on, need a sip here. There we go. One of these structures, a prominent step pyramid, juts above the sandy waste, beckoning for exploration. There must be untold riches secluded inside its dusty halls and crypts. But more importantly, you desperately hope there's water, food, and relief from the unrelenting sun to be found therein. For without those basic necessities, your band will succumb not to some fell beast, but this harsh environment instead. Onward, as all heroes wish to meet their end while swinging a sword or unleashing arcane magic. So check your weapons, adjust your armor, and inventory your precious remaining food and water supplies. High adventure awaits in the underground chambers and tiers of a pyramid covered by the sands of time. But what of the peculiar masked humans who rule the upper levels of the pyramid? And what of the dark master that rules these humans from the lower levels of the Forsaken Halls? An adventure inspired by the classic pulp stories such as Robert E. Howard's famous Conan story, Red Nails. This tome is an homage to the original dungeon crawl and sandbox setting, first explored decades ago as B4, The Lost City. Herein, you will find high-quality scans of the original Basic Edition adventure module, plus commentary by a variety of gaming luminaries. This includes an interview with Harold Johnson, the module's original developer, who also discusses his work on playtesting, Dragonlance, and other TSR titles. Why would you have him talk about that? It's sort of like, I'm picking up the Lost City. I want to hear about the Lost City. I don't care about Dragonlance. Of course, I'm not that big a fan of Dragonlance anyway. Also, herein is a full 5th edition conversion of the original adventure, as well as brand new additional dungeons, such as the fully developed lower pyramid, additional details on the Lost City itself, and the dreaded lower catacombs. Although converted for the most recent edition, this material is presented in a distinct early 1980s style, tone, and presentation. This is the perfect setting for a fully playable 5th edition mini campaign, starting at 1st level and reaching all the way up to 7th level or beyond. This hardcover does carry an MSRP of $49.99. As you can see, we've got some Tom Holloway art, or I should say Jim Holloway art. Yes, as Kabuki Kid mentions. So, yep, always remember Jim's stuff. Always had that real distinct look to, Holloway always had that really distinct look to his work. And yes, he just recently passed away. So I thought it was kind of interesting. Yes, and this is a Moldavie, I should say, Moldavie. I've heard it pronounced all different ways. But yes, it is one of his modules. I gotta say, I don't know if it has the blue maps or not. So, because Goodman Games does not sell these books in PDF, I am actually using images from the PDF of the original game, except for the cover of the book. So that's why I stuck with images, artwork, as well as the maps. So, yes, Holloway always had a great style because, his images always had a bit of a sense of humor to them. Not all of them, but a great many of them. And he was still working right up to his death. So, yeah, kind of sad. I shouldn't say kind of sad. It is sad. So here's a question. Let's see who can answer this the fastest. Why were the dungeon maps blue? Why were they that shade of blue? Let's see. I guarantee We get correct answer within about a minute. But yes, there we go. Kabuki Kid, bang. Prevent photocopying. That blue would not Xerox. So, which is, I gotta be honest, it's kind of stupid because you could photocopy all the rest of it. It's like big deal. You could trace out some of this stuff. I don't know. It was, to me, I always thought that was kind of silly. But I do remember back in the day that you would have like PC games, the pirate, protection against piracy was that you had to enter in, different, like keywords from, what is the seventh word of the third paragraph on page 9? And you'd have to type it in, and that would unlock the game for you to play it. And you had to do that like every time you played. And it was funny because people would go and just photocopy the game book and copy the discs, and that was it. They were good to go. And they'd just go return it at whatever game store, because back in the day, most game stores, most computer stores, I should say, would take back they would take returns back on software. So, and Kabuki Kid says, I can testify you could photocopy those. Just came out a bit messy. But I was going to say, some of those books would also have, the print was in that oddball, like light blue, so that you couldn't photocopy the manuals and stuff for the PC games. So, speaking of the Lost City, I do not believe, I don't know if I've read this one. If I remember, okay, so is this the adventure where you've got the different factions? One faction is like all men and the other faction is like all women. And then the like big bad at the bottom of the pyramid is almost like a crocodile creature or something like that. I may have read this way back in the day. So, but I don't know. I don't know. So a Great A says, I didn't know anyone who photocopied. It was all often reproduced on someone's grid pad during an existing high school health class. I can say that we used to use, I don't even know what the paper was considered. It was like you could trace with the paper, but they didn't call it tracing paper. But I know we did that with a lot of stuff, as far as with like we played a lot of Fletcher Pratt's naval, miniatures game, and we used to have have the ships drawn out, and then we'd like trace more of the ships and then cut that out and glue it onto like cardboard and stuff. So Kabuki Kid says they don't remember the factions were split by sex. I thought they were. I thought we had this group of men, then we had this group of women, but it wasn't like if you were a woman that like as a player character that they would not deal with you, just like with the faction that was all women. If you were a male character, they would still deal with you. It was just the other factions that they couldn't stand. Yes, this is Argon. I have read this, but it's been a long, long time. I would love to see some of these, but as far as I understand, I don't think Goodman Games sends out review copies. I had asked them once, and in fact, I don't think I ever even got a response. I don't recall if I got a response or not, but they do a lot of cool stuff. They do these original adventures reincarnated. I think there's 2 more on the horizon. I think they've got 6. So a Great A says they were all addicted to mushrooms. Wow, yeah, I don't remember that either. But like I said, I wasn't even sure if I remembered this one right. But this was one of the better, like, starting adventures. Personally, I think The Lost City is probably, I would think it's in my opinion at least, I think it's a better adventure than Keep on the Borderlands. And I know a lot of people are really, you know, they look back at that module with a lot of nostalgia. But I always thought Keep on the Borderlands was a little too sandboxy, and the actual dungeons, the caverns, and that just don't make a lot of sense, you know, if you think about them. Kabuki Kid says Keep on the Borderlands is a meat grinder. See, I don't mind those so much, especially when you're doing a fantasy role-playing game. You can replace characters fairly easily. All right, let's move on to the last news piece, because now available in PDF from Onyx Path Publishing is Pirates of Pugmire. Here's the dope. Out here on the Acid Sea, it doesn't matter what your house is or what noble family you're descended from. All you need is a sturdy ship, a plastic hull, and a firm wind behind you, and maybe some gums. Stumpy Sabu Chromachide Gecko, captain of the Pig's Tail. With the advent of the plastic hull, people of all species took to the Acid Sea to explore, seeking new shores and facing dangers unknown. Life on the sea is different than life in the relative safety of the kingdoms and monarchies. Sailors must face the dangers of hunger, starvation, or becoming hopelessly lost in a drift, while the plastic hulls of their boats slowly melt into uselessness. Large portions of the sea remain unexplored and uncharted, denying pirates the assurance of a safe journey home. If treasure is found, there's always a hostile crew or two out there on the waves, lying in wait to raid returning ships. And twisted corpses of dead sea life, animated by unseen forces, haunt the waves. It takes an extra level of grit to brave the Acid Sea. Do you have what it takes? Well, as long as you got a plastic hull, you should be good. As the madman says, I wonder if those dogs play poker. I have seen paintings of them. I think they do. Pirates of Pugmire is a chronicle source book for both Pugmire and Monarchies of Mao. It's usable with either game or part of a joint experience. Some highlights include 2 new species for players to enjoy: lizards and birds. 6 new callings, including 2 for dogs and 2 for cats. Rules for building, sailing, and sinking ships. It's a trove of new allies, enemies, and treasures, as well as information on Waterdog Port and Port Matthew. Port Matthew Perry? I don't know. Going on account, or I should say going on the account, a chronicle of 3 new adventures, taking characters from 1st through 6th level. Can you brave the Acid Sea? This 157-page premium hardcover is available at DriveThruRPG for $44.99. You can add the PDF in for $5 more. There is a standard hardcover for $34.99. Once again, you can add that PDF in as well. I don't understand that, to be honest. I always look at it, if you're buying the physical book, companies should give you a PDF. But if you just want the PDF itself, you can grab that for $14.99. Pugmire has some appeal for folks out there. I know there are people out there who like the anthropomorphic animals. They dig that kind of stuff. I find the artwork kind of odd. There were a couple of pieces of art from this that I was like, that just looks too bizarre. I'm like, But Pugmire's popular, so I'm sure there's somebody out there watching this show, maybe not live, but who's going to watch this show, who's going to be like, yeah, Jeff, Pugmire and Monarchies of Mao are really good, dude. I'm not saying they're not. I'm sharing the news. There's a new source book out. and it brings lizards and birds to it. So, so Kabuki Kid, we're back to discussing The Lost City and Keep on the Borderlands. Kabuki Kid mentions a B2, Keep on the Borderlands, served as sort of a home base for the party starting out, and it was good for noobs. If I remember right, wasn't there like very minimal information about like the NPCs and stuff at the keep? Because I seem to remember the village of Hamlet actually had way more detail about NPCs in the town, which I think the Temple of Elemental Evil is an upcoming original adventures reincarnated. I don't know if that's number 5 or 6, but I'm pretty sure that was it coming out. Kabuki Kid agrees. Yeah, nowadays, if you're buying the physical book, you should get the PDF, especially if you're buying the physical book from Drive-Thru RPG. Sort of like, I don't know. So, Kabuki Kid is asking which B3 did we go with? If I remember correctly, isn't B3 isn't that the module that is the last name Jacques? I think her first name now is Janelle Jacques, something like that. Did some artwork that had to be removed from the next printing of it because people were kind of, TSR was taking some heat for it. I think like I think it was a giant maybe. Janelle Jacques. There we go. Thank you, Kabuki Kid. So yeah, isn't that B3? If I remember correctly, I can't remember the title of it. Gosh, there's just so many adventures. So, was it her art? Yes, it was her art. Yes, the Etten picture. And then there was something else that one of the monsters or something like that had like Gary Gygax's face. And I guess they didn't appreciate that. They got rid of that too. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure she did the artwork because I know she does a lot of artwork to this day. Anyway, yeah, some of the old D&D modules weren't fantastic, but you could plug in a lot of stuff into those. So I have a soft spot for the old modules in that. I've said it time and time again. The first role-playing game purchase I ever made was G1, the Studying of the Hill Giants, and I had no idea you actually needed books to be able to do anything. Yeah, well, what can I tell you? Anyway, and that was probably, I don't know, 79-ish, 78, 79. I know I wasn't in high school yet. So anyway, that is it for tonight's news. One last thing I'm going to mention before we close out the week is that I'm kind of bouncing around, maybe doing one show a month, maybe like have the last show of the month, just be kind of like a Q&A kind of thing. Just let's talk about different stuff, right? It's not necessarily just like a news episode. I don't know. I don't know. I've been kind of bouncing it around because I got some emails from people who were saying, hey, I really like that kind of like AMA episode I did. It's like, yeah, well, we could maybe do something like that. Yeah, a BS session. That's exactly it. Kabuki Kid's pointing out. So yeah, well, let me know in the comments. Easy enough. Strangely enough, not a lot of people comment on the show. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, I am going to be off to go watch some baseball. Yes. With no crowds in the stands. Going to be very bizarre. I wonder who's going to be piping in like arcade game noise, like MLB The Show or something like that into the stadiums and the fields. I bet somebody's going to do it. So Kabuki Kid says, if I watch live, I rarely comment too. Yeah, I don't blame you. Oh, I'm not making any comment. But I'm just saying, if you'd like to maybe have like an AMA once a month, it's kind of like a BS kind of session, as Double K pointed out, let me know in the comments. All right, so that is it for this time out. As I always like to mention, if you like the video, please give it a quick thumbs up. Funny enough, we get like a lot of interaction, a lot of people thumb up or thumb down, but we don't get tons of views. So that's pretty wild, because usually most videos don't get that much interaction. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, but if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that little notification, because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live Monday through Thursday nights here on YouTube, it'll also tell you when I upload other videos as well, including reviews, unboxings, first looks, page throughs, interviews, in normal times, convention coverage, and so on. And of course, when you're not watching videos at the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your Thursday night / Friday morning. Have a great weekend. Have some fun. But of course, as always, during this time of pandemic, even when you're having fun, be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.